Good morning, everybody. Let's have a quick look at all of the markets very briefly before everybody gets up and carries on with their day. So I did that last stream last night. Yeah, a bit of a problem on the Patreon. I failed to post the link. So when I turned up to the stream, there was bloody hardly anyone there. So I thought, look, it's a banging day. It's a hardcore pumping day. There's a very, very good chance now that we have started the alt season. And so I'll do a free live stream, and it was actually I quite liked it. I did enjoy it. So I think what I'm going to do, maybe later today, is I'll bring the Patreon price down a little bit as a one-time special offer. I mean, it's only £7.50 a month anyway. I might bring it down to £5, just as a little treat for a couple of weeks, and then that's it. Just because it's alt season time. It's all season time. We're spending money on subscriptions to me, when you could be spending money on all those delicious altcoins at low prices. Right, let's have a little think about what's going on here. The Dixie pulling down into major support. So, I know what you're saying. I can hear it. Dixie at support, does this mean it's going to rally to $120? Well, probably, yeah, but is it going to happen today, or is it going to happen over the course of maybe a couple of years? Probably going to happen over the space of maybe 2 years. Now, it doesn't mean that it even has to bounce here, because this is a rising channel. It's been going on since 2014, I think is the first time we hit the peak. Yeah, so it's a very old, it's a very, very old channel. And, these formations typically break down rather than out, just statistically. But does that mean it's going to do it this time? Don't know. The difference is, the last time we came down to here and we had that huge dollar rally, we did see an enormous rise on the dollar. The first time we tagged it was December 2020, December 2020 into January 2021, which was the best alt season we've ever seen. We all made tons of money. But, isn't Investopedia or, Professor Super Trader on the internet is going to tell you that actually, the dollar goes up, everything goes down. So, this is it now, they'll say. They'll say the dollar's about to bounce, get ready, you're going to die. That's what they'll be saying. Whereas, we didn't die last time. In fact, we got, very, very rich indeed, very quickly. And even when it found its double bottom or its higher low, when was that? Well, that was May. So we'd already had a big dump in the market, and then we still went on to make a higher high for Bitcoin, and some altcoins even did a 10x from there. So here we are again. Last time we hit here, we came down to here, it was the moment the alt season began. So we've done it. So we're here. Last time we were here as well, though. We had bullish divergence all over the place. We don't have that here. So maybe there is some evidence that this is going to start breaking down, as the the rising channel often suggests. I don't know. Just putting it to you. I had a very good feeling that we were going to come down here, hence the squiggly line that I crudely drew in all the way back in January. But now we're here. 6 months later, kissing the canvas. Right, so let's move on to an actual crypto. We'll just think about Bitcoin, as Bitcoin is still tearing itself all the way up to new all-time highs, potentially. Why is it doing that? Well, we did say, didn't we, the trend signal on the Itchy Cloud is going to play a decent role, and being above all moving averages also, very important. Yeah, that kicked in 3 weeks ago now, so we've been talking about this for 3 weeks, 3 bloody weeks we've had, and here we are. I always like to make fun of the people that were saying, the cycle's ended, don't you see that? I don't think it is. Yes, it is, it's ended. I was saying, look, tell me the cycle's ended after 4 years. See what the behaviour looks like. Here we are getting supported on a 50 exponential, as we did over here. So, I don't really know as we could ever say that the cycle has ended, before until 4 years has elapsed, really, and then you can actually look in hindsight. But that's no good to me. I know. You've got to take each day as it comes, but this is a trend signal trending as of 3 weeks ago. Remember how happy we were to see that, and how we sat back and relaxed on a beach in Spain, just understanding that this is likely to continue? Or was that just me? But you know what I'm saying, though, right? nothing has changed. So I made a lot less videos recently because nothing has changed. You know, one analysis continues to remain as relevant as it was 3 weeks ago, and now, you know, we're catching up with price action. Price action's catching up with the setup, and we're about to make a new all-time high. I know. Let's have a think about Ethereum, which is also doing pretty well. So we're sort of bouncing from the center of this Bollinger Band, which again, 65% of the time you'll see that. And again, you know, this moved in the most likely way, bouncing from a 20 moving average, trying to get above all moving averages on the weekly there. So quite good. Again, it's just statistical likelihood of success. And now yesterday's close has brought us above all moving averages on the daily, getting an incoming golden cross. This is the beginning of the next stage of pump. The next stage of pump should take you to around 3,600, which I know it's not worth getting out of bed for. I know it's disappointing. Beyond that, though, you start to measure off the previous highs, 4,000, and then all-time high 4,600, and then maybe even up to somewhere like 7,000. But when Pionex is in the discomfort zone, I don't know how long it can pump for, but we just got to keep our eyes on it, okay? Just don't get too greedy. I know everyone's going to start saying, "You're early. It's just broken 4,000. You're early." And look, you could still make gains. It's all about risk to reward. At the moment, you know, the risk to reward is almost even. It would appear that we're sitting within a symmetrical triangle. It could go up, it could go down to the same effect. So are you going to maybe look to gain 40%, or are you looking to gain 23%? Risk to reward is acceptable. You know, it's not the greatest thing you've ever seen, but if you're looking to make a trade and the upper target is double that of the lower target, then, you know, that's a 2-to-1, isn't it? It's just pretty good. Right. Next on the list is just the dominance chart, where we will leave it. Because yesterday, I make a video on Atom or something, or was that the day before? But the whole point of the video was you've got to try and find charts that are doing the opposite of this. This is showing top signals, top vibes, bearish divergence, money flow, bearish divergence, RSI. And then we'll be hoping to see a breakdown as we saw on the Dixie. So I'm hoping to see this turn around like the Dixie has turned around, all the way down. Just for your reference, you know, there's your Dixie. Oh my God, it's going up. It's the best thing anyone's ever seen. It's going to 120. It's going to 150 billion. And I'm like, I think it's going to turn around. I just think it's going to turn around. The dominance chart is more bearish than the Dixie was. I know that there's a lot of fundamental reasons to why the Dixie broke down, but that's what I'm looking at here. This is a bearish chart giving top signals. Does that mean I've spotted the absolute top and it's going to come down to zero? No. Is it going to do a reversal move? I would say more than likely it's going to do a reversal. I don't know how dramatic it's going to be, but we've got signs that it's going to do a reversal. You know, we've had similar signs on this chart before, but not quite as nice as this one. So this one is pretty nice. So the first targets are going to be 63, 65, 60, 84, 58 and a half, and then you've got these moving averages 55 and a half, 50 and a half. So each one of them could be the area. Now, we've seen it all before in the last alt season. Remember, December 2020, when the Dixie found its low. I know, crazy, isn't it, right? So, super mega trader will tell you that the Dixie is about to bounce and all markets will be destroyed, but it wasn't like that last time. December 20, we were about to get rich. So, when this happened, you know, I did say, to be honest with you, very likely to find a top around here. I did, all right? Did. And we started to make loads of cash. However, because the dominance chart had been trending up massively, this is a huge uptrend. It went from basically the lows of 38 all the way up to 72. You think this has been a big rise. This was bigger. Yeah, it's true. This has been big, but this was bigger. And then we consolidated, ran up, and then we just plummeted. But remember, this was bigger than this. This has been the worst Worst crypto market ever. Disagree with you there. Sorry, disagree with you. This was savage. This was savage. This we can handle. But yeah, on the way down, I was like, okay, there's a support here. We might bounce from here. Let's just be careful. If we don't bounce from here, it's here. Every time we moved down to a support, I took some chips off the table, evaluated the situation, and then went back in. Chips off the table, evaluated the situation, and then went back in. And then this was the best part here, really. From here to here was this huge parabolic thing, and then as we got down to this bit, chips off the table to a, luckily, taking those chips off the table worked because there was a May crash at that point. And then, yeah, having a good old time. So let's just face it, as we approach these lows, each one of these supports might be a way for you to think about taking some chips off the table, because you're having a great time until the moment that you're not. And there was a moment in the last cycle, and the alt season as well, where everyone thought they were indestructible. They're not like that now. People are still destroyed. They can't cope with the idea of an alt season, never mind want to partake in it. They can't imagine it, which is why it's most likely going to happen. 24-hour trading volume on altcoins even yesterday is extremely low, tiny, which means that if the money starts to flow in, those candles will be very big and green. But yeah, when that starts to happen, the average retailer, Captain Noobmaster, and his and and all his little noob friends will start pouring their money in, emptying their piggy banks, as it goes higher and higher and higher, maybe even at the absolute peak. So just be careful. There are ways to find or think about temporary tops in these altcoins, but for the moment, and from what we saw on the stream last night, it does look like a couple of 100% can be made on pretty much most alts at this point now, between now and September. Right, so if you want to know more, join the Patreon. Links in the description below. I've got links for pretty much everything. There's some good deals on exchanges as well, if you want to have a look at those. And other than that, we've got a Telegram, so join that. Other than that, though, I will leave it there. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.